For almost 50 years, no one knew who killed this little girl in Pennsylvania. But now police say they found her killer.
And we have an update on the cold case arrest that brought closure to a decades-old murder. Today, the pastor accused of killing an 8-year-old girl.
I grew up here, and she lived down at the bottom of the hill, the church. Her father was a pastor down there.
Yes, people were definitely afraid to let their kids out.
And it's a former pastor who's been living in Marietta for years. That's 83-year-old David Zandstra. He's now charged with killing 8-year-old Gretchen Harrington.
Disappearance and discovery.
This is a 48-year-old cold case, as you know.
On a typical summer day in Marple Township, Pennsylvania, Gretchen Harrington set out from her home on August 15, 1975, a young girl with a simple mission: to attend summer Bible camp. Little did anyone know this would be the last time she'd walk those familiar streets. Despite her parents' expectations, Gretchen never arrived at her destination, sending ripples of concern throughout the tight-knit community. As days turned into weeks and the summer sun began to wane, hope dwindled. Then, a grim discovery shattered any remaining illusions. Roughly 2 months after her disappearance, a jogger stumbled upon skeletal remains in the somber depths of Ridley Creek State Park. It was Gretchen, her fate sealed in tragedy, her young life cut short. The revelation sent shockwaves through Marple Township, a place where such horrors seemed unimaginable. Suddenly, the community found itself thrust into a nightmare, grappling with questions that had no easy answers. Who could commit such a heinous act? Why would someone target an innocent child? As investigators combed through the evidence, the shadow of mystery only deepened, leaving a scar on the town that would endure for decades to come. In the wake of Gretchen's disappearance and subsequent discovery, Marple Township was forever changed. What once seemed like a safe haven was now haunted by the specter of violence, a reminder that even the most idyllic communities are not immune to the darkness that lurks just beyond the surface.
Investigators say the little girl was walking from her Marple Township home to Bible school when she disappeared. Her body found weeks later in Ridley Creek State Park, but the mystery behind her death would last for decades.
Decades of unsolved mystery. For nearly 5 decades, the disappearance and tragic demise of Gretchen Harrington lingered like a dark cloud over Marple Township. Despite tireless efforts by law enforcement, the case stubbornly defied resolution, becoming an enduring mystery that haunted both investigators and residents alike. As the years passed without answers, the Harrington family bore the heavy burden of uncertainty. The pain of not knowing Gretchen's fate weighed heavily on their hearts, a wound that refused to heal. Yet, even in their grief, they clung to memories of Gretchen as a beacon of light in the darkness. Her gentle spirit and kindness continued to resonate within the community, keeping her memory alive in the hearts of those who knew her.
She lived down at the bottom of the hill, the church. Her father was a pastor down there.
Meanwhile, the unsolved case cast a long shadow over Marple Township, leaving its residents feeling unsettled and vulnerable. The thought that a perpetrator could still be at large, lurking in their midst, filled many with a sense of unease. Despite the passage of time, the specter of Gretchen's disappearance remained a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the ever-present threat of violence.
We had hoped when we wrote the book that someone's memory would be jogged, someone might come forward with some information.
Breakthrough and arrest.
For almost 50 years, no one knew who killed this little girl in Pennsylvania. But now police say they found her killer.
This man is evil.
Let's rewind to January, a pivotal moment in the Gretchen Harrington case. It's a story that had baffled investigators for decades. Then, in the cold of winter, a ray of hope pierced the darkness. During a crucial witness interview, new information surfaced, linking a man named David Zandstra to the crime.
David Zandstra gave a statement to our wonderful state troopers, and that has led to his arrest today.
This breakthrough breathed fresh life into a case long shrouded in mystery. Fast forward to July 2023, and the scene shifts dramatically. Delaware County authorities make a move that shakes the community to its core. they apprehend an unexpected suspect, David Zandstra, an 83-year-old former pastor. The charges? None other than the slaying of Gretchen Harrington. The news of Zandstra's arrest reverberates through Marple Township and beyond, stirring a whirlwind of emotions. For those who had followed Gretchen's case closely, it was a moment of disbelief mingled with cautious optimism. Could this finally be the break they had been waiting for? Zandstra's arrest wasn't just another headline. It was a turning point in a saga that had gripped the community for nearly 5 decades. It offered a glimmer of hope to Gretchen's family, who had endured years of heartache and uncertainty. As the legal process unfolded, the community stood united.
I'm hoping, justice will be served. I'm hoping that the family will find some peace, some answers to the questions they've probably had for 48 years.
Rallying behind Gretchen's family and reaffirming their commitment to seeking justice. The arrest of David Zandstra wasn't just about holding one man accountable. It was about bringing closure to a tragedy that had cast a shadow over Marple Township for far too long.
He killed this poor 8-year-old girl he knew and who trusted him, and then he acted as if he was their family friend, not only during her burial and the period after that, but for years. And he then moved on as a reverend, both to Texas and I believe in Georgia.
Zandstra's admission and investigation.
Investigators say he denied ever seeing her the day she was kidnapped.
During the interrogation, David Zandstra's initial denials slowly crumbled under the weight of evidence and relentless questioning. Eventually, he disclosed a chilling account of the events surrounding Gretchen Harrington's disappearance.
He is every parent's worst nightmare. This is a man who is a remorseless child predator.
Zandstra confessed to encountering Gretchen on the morning of August 15th, 1975, as she made her way to summer Bible camp.
Zandstra admitted to offering this little girl a ride from Bible camp, taking her to a secluded spot, performing sexual acts in front of her, and then beating her to death with his fist.
He admitted to offering her a ride, luring her into his car with seemingly benign intentions. However, what followed was a sinister turn of events. In a secluded wooded area, away from prying eyes, Zandstra's true intentions surfaced.
What broke this case wide open was an interview earlier this year with someone close to Zandstra's family. She described a 1975 diary entry that pointed to his sexual misconduct with children, and that's according to authorities.
The evil man responsible for this, because he's going to need it.
He recounted coercing Gretchen to undress, likely with promises or threats, but she resisted. Fueled by rage or frustration, he resorted to violence, striking her in the head with his fist. The blow was fatal, leaving Gretchen bleeding and unconscious. In a panic, Zandstra attempted to conceal his horrific deed, hastily covering Gretchen's lifeless body before fleeing the scene. The woods, once a place of innocence and adventure, became a grim tableau of tragedy, a haunting reminder of the darkness that lurked within. As investigators pieced together Zandstra's confession, a disturbing picture emerged of a man who had betrayed the trust placed in him as a pastor and mentor. His calculated actions shattered lives and left a community reeling in shock and disbelief. Furthermore, Zandstra's admission raised troubling questions about his past and the possibility of additional victims. His history of predatory behavior and movements across state lines sparked fears that Gretchen may not have been his only victim.
People who have contacted the church from different states where Zandstra later preached, and there may be other charges in other jurisdictions.
Prompting authorities to widen their investigation in search of justice for all who may have fallen prey to his depravity.
I'm happy that he was caught. I mean, how many years have gone by and this poor family never got closure?
Seeking justice and closure. With David Zandstra in custody, the wheels of justice began to turn as legal proceedings unfolded to ensure accountability for Gretchen Harrington's slaying. Efforts were swiftly underway to bring Zandstra from his current location in Georgia to Pennsylvania for trial. Extradition procedures were initiated, marking the first step in the pursuit of justice and closure for Gretchen's family and the community. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, ongoing investigations continued to gather crucial evidence to strengthen the case against Zandstra. DNA testing, a powerful tool in modern forensic science, played a central role in uncovering the truth. Samples collected from Zandstra were meticulously analyzed, with experts working tirelessly to piece together the puzzle of Gretchen's slaying. In tandem with forensic efforts, authorities appealed to the public for any information that could shed light on Zandstra's activities and potential involvement in other crimes. The community's response was instrumental, with tips and leads pouring in, each one bringing investigators closer to unraveling the full extent of Zandstra's actions. As the legal process unfolded and the investigation progressed, the pursuit of justice for Gretchen Harrington took on a renewed sense of urgency and determination. Each step forward brought Gretchen's family and the community one step closer to closure, offering hope that despite the passage of time, accountability would be served and justice would prevail. Signing off for now, tune in next time for another riveting episode.